Okay, if you don't know me, my name is Sam, and I help people break free from doubt, fear, and stagnation, the invisible forces that hold them back, but not how you might think. But before we get started, I want to give you something that can instantly shift your momentum. Go to mysuccessoffer.com and get free access to a simple framework that helps you break free from doubt, fear, and stagnation, so you can take bold, confident action toward your goals. It's not fluff. It's real, practical, and it works. Clients come to me because they want real momentum, not just motivation. And even though they're smart, driven, and have so much potential, they tell me they still wake up wondering why they're not further along. And they tell me they feel lost in their own potential, like they should be further ahead by now, but something invisible keeps pulling them back. They feel frustrated, not because they haven't tried, but because they've tried everything: the books, the habits, the mindset hacks, and still wake up with that quiet ache that says, I know I'm meant for more, but why can't I get there? They feel tired of pretending to have it all together while battling self-doubt in silence. They're driven, capable, and full of ideas, yet stuck in a loop they can't seem to break. And I tell them, it's not because you're broken, lazy, or lacking discipline. It's because no one ever taught you how to reprogram the invisible patterns running beneath the surface, the ones that quietly sabotage your progress while you're busy trying to think positive or push harder. Real change doesn't come from willpower alone. It comes from learning how to shift your inner world so your outer world finally starts to match the vision you've been carrying inside for years. By the way, if something I've said so far is hitting home for you, don't wait until the end. Head over to mysuccessoffer.com. There's a free training there that goes deeper into this process and shows you exactly how to build real momentum, even if you felt stuck for years. Let me tell you a story, not of war or kings, not of business empires or revolutions, but a quieter, more universal story. The story of why most people fail before they even start. Picture this: a cobbled street in an old city, Lisbon maybe, or Kyoto, or Boston. Doesn't matter. What matters is the air, the silence, the hesitation. A young person stands at a corner, worn shoes tapping against stone, backpack strapped on, heart racing. They came here chasing something, an idea, a change, a dream. But they haven't moved in hours. Why? Because before we cross any literal street, we must cross an invisible one. The invisible divide between where we are and what we think we're capable of. And that's where most people fall, not at the destination. Not at the 10th mile or the 100th step, but right there, before they even take one. Why? Because the hardest terrain we'll ever cross isn't out there. It's the one inside. Welcome to the inner game. If you've traveled enough or lived long enough, you've seen it. That quiet flicker in the eye of someone who had every reason to succeed, but didn't. Not because they lacked skill. Not because the world was against them, but because they never gave themselves permission to begin. What we often call procrastination is rarely laziness. It's protection. From what? From embarrassment. From not living up to an image. From disappointing people we love. Or worse, from discovering we're not who we thought we were. These are the silent saboteurs. They sound like, who do you think you are? What if you fail? What if you succeed and then lose it? And here's the thing. These voices don't wait until you've climbed the first mountain. They greet you at base camp. They tell you to turn around before you even lace up your boots. They're not loud, but they're relentless. Let's go to Florence for a moment. Michelangelo sculpted David before he was 30. When asked how he did it, he replied, I saw the angel in the marble and carved until I set him free. Notice what he didn't say. He didn't say, I waited until I felt ready. He didn't say, I needed more confidence. He didn't say, I had a 5-year plan. He began with belief, not certainty. Belief. Most people fail before they start because they wait for readiness. But readiness is a mirage. It tricks us into preparation as a form of procrastination. We think we're being responsible, but really, we're postponing our life. Readiness doesn't precede action. It follows it. You become ready by starting, not the other way around. Let's go back centuries. When the early cartographers drew maps of the world, they had to sketch in places they'd never seen. So what did they do? They wrote, "Here be dragons." Not because they'd found monsters, but because they hadn't found themselves there yet. That's the inner game, isn't it? Every unknown part of ourselves, our talents, our potential, our courage is labeled dragon until we go there. So we avoid it. We draw borders around what we've known. I'm not a creative person. I'm just not disciplined. I've never been good with people. These aren't truths. They're unvisited territories. They're fears with fancy titles. The moment we start moving, tentatively, clumsily, those dragons disappear. And in their place, a map that's no longer borrowed from others. It's authored by us. In Istanbul, I once asked a street vendor how long he'd been running his tiny cafe. He laughed. Since I was 19. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew if I didn't try, I'd regret it forever. Confidence didn't start the cafe. Regret did. Around the world, from Nairobi to Naples, you'll hear the same thing in different tongues. I just needed to try. Yet we think confidence is the ticket we must show before the journey. The truth is more nuanced. Confidence is a byproduct, not a prerequisite. And if you wait for it, you'll wait forever. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards movement. Confidence is built through action, not affirmation. Let's pause for a moment. There are two kinds of failure in life. 1, the failure that comes from trying. 2, the failure that comes from never trying. Only one leaves you wiser. Only one leaves you with a story. Only one moves the plot of your life forward. When people look back on their lives, they rarely regret the projects that flopped, the speeches that stumbled, the businesses that folded. They regret the book they never wrote, the conversation they never had, the risk they never took. That's the real failure, the invisible kind. And it happens every day, not in dramatic fashion, but quietly, in the minds of people who talk themselves out of starting. Here's a truth worth stitching into your life. Big dreams are built on small starts. Most people wait for the perfect moment, but the perfect moment is a moving target. Meanwhile, someone else, less talented, less prepared, less afraid, just begins. They write one page, record one video, speak to one potential client. They start with what they have, and that small spark, it ignites something. In Tokyo, a man builds a global business from his kitchen. In Lagos, a woman starts teaching online with a phone and a whiteboard. In Chicago, a teenager uploads a song and changes his life. Starting small is not weakness, it's wisdom. Every traveler needs a passport, but there's another kind of passport, one stamped with beliefs, self-talk, and inner landscapes. This passport defines how far you're willing to go, not geographically, but emotionally, creatively, spiritually. Most people carry expired documents, old stories, childhood labels, failures from a decade ago that still dictate today. If you want to win the inner game, you must renew that passport. You must rewrite the stories. I'm not cut out for this becomes I'm learning every day. I'm too late becomes I'm just getting started. I always fail becomes I haven't succeeded yet. The greatest journeys happen when you update the document you use to define yourself. Stephen Pressfield called it resistance, that force that shows up every time you try to change. It sounds rational. I should clean the house first. I need to study more. I'm too tired today. But underneath, it's fear wearing a business suit. It doesn't yell. It negotiates. It makes excuses sound intelligent. You must learn to hear it and ignore it. Because behind resistance is the work, and behind the work is the transformation. You don't need to silence resistance to begin. You just need to stop giving it your microphone. There's a gift no one talks about, the confidence that comes from honoring your own word. When you say, I'm going to start, and you do, you gain something deeper than success. You gain integrity. You prove to yourself that you're trustworthy, that you show up for your own future. That's the inner game, and it matters more than you think, because the outer wins, the trophies, the accolades, the applause can be taken away. But this is yours to keep forever. In Bali, a surfer wakes at dawn. In Berlin, a writer opens a blank page. In São Paulo, a teacher records a course after work. They're all different, but their inner game is the same. Each faces the same doubts, the same fear of not being enough, the same question echoing in their chest. Am I ready? And each one, regardless of culture, language, or upbringing, must answer the same way. No, but I'm willing. That's the phrase that changes everything. Not, I'm sure, Not I'm fearless, but I'm willing. That's how you win the inner game. So let me tell you the real story. It's not about the man who climbed Everest. It's about the moment, years before, when he decided to put on his boots. It's not about the woman who won an award. It's about the night she chose to write even when no one would see. The inner game isn't a theory. It's a decision. It's the choice to begin when it's easier to wait, to believe when it's safer to doubt, to move forward when it feels more comfortable to retreat. Most people fail before they even start, but not because they're doomed to fail, because they never learned how to begin. Now you know, and you don't need to be fearless, you just need to be willing. So take one small step today, not someday, not when it's perfect, not when you feel ready, because progress begins not with motion, but with decision. And remember, it's okay to start small and let progress fuel motivation. Some of the most successful people are masters of starting small and letting progress fuel their motivation. So the main thing is to start before you feel ready, because readiness is a result of action, not a requirement for it. And here's a useful tip: shrink the starting line. Instead of planning the whole journey, just do one small thing today. A sentence, a sketch, a call. That first step builds belief faster than any amount of thinking ever will. And one thing that's always really helpful is to talk back to the voice of resistance. Give it a name, notice when it shows up, and remind yourself that discomfort doesn't mean stop. It means you're growing. And if you're really serious about creating lasting change, not just watching another video, but actually transforming the way you think, act, and move through life, then go to mysuccessoffer.com. You'll get immediate access to a breakthrough method that's already helped thousands shift out of survival mode and into unstoppable progress. If you're done playing small, this is where it starts. This has been The Inner Game: Why Most People Fail Before They Even Start. If it moved something in you, you've already started winning the inner game. Until next time, travel inward.